The Politics for Real talk show. I'm Brianna Campbell, your host. Guys, what was John F. Kennedy's vision for America in regards to immigration? Well, in 1958, a then junior senator from Massachusetts, Kennedy, wrote a compelling argument for immigration policy reform in an essay he called A Nation of Immigrants. Guys, just to give you guys just to provide somewhat of a context, during the time that Kennedy wrote, this brilliant work, this brilliant essay, America was comprised mainly of people who were from other places, guys. So it made sense, it made sense for him to think of something like this, and the argument, in the essay, his major argument, he provides a very cohesive argument for how, for why America is at its best when it's actually a safe haven for refugees. I mean, that's something that's so profound because that's like nothing you've ever seen before. It's so different. And I actually think that this essay that he wrote, I thought that it should be an inspiration, for the immigration policy today, because what Kennedy does is he provides, his work really highlights, a lot of the contributions, that the immigrants had on the American society. Like I said, that's like nothing you've ever seen before, guys. So I highly encourage you to check it out. You're going to hear me say that at least a few more times, advocating for this book. If you have the, access to Amazon, you might, maybe able to check the book out on Kindle. Okay, guys. So recently, the federal government placed a cap on the amount of refugees, that the United States would allow. I believe they placed a cap at about 30,000, immigrants. Guys, that is a steady decline. That is a steady decline from the 45,000, immigrants that they allowed into the country this year. So this 30,000 is going to apply to the next fiscal year. So it's steadily declining. And, I just want you guys, millennials, just to consider, could you honestly, consider yourselves, could you imagine yourselves as toddlers being separated from your families at a border? I'm going to ask you that one more time because I'm pretty sure that you have a quick answer. Could you guys imagine yourselves as toddlers being separated from your families at a border? Okay, I'm pretty sure that the answer for a lot of you guys is no, and it should be no. But then here's my thing. Then why is it so easy for us to imagine, immigrants? Why is it so easy for us to accept that for them when if we researched a bit, we would find that, they have a tremendous make tremendous contributions to our society, guys. Well, according to the zero tolerance policy of this administration, the Trump administration, immigrants being separated from their families at the border, this has entirely been the case, okay? And I can assure you that this is extremely far from what Kennedy had in mind when he said a compassionate society. When he envisioned a compassionate society that was, understanding of immigrants, this is not what he had in mind. So something obviously has changed, okay? Something has changed, maybe it's the culture, the administration, but it's nothing like what Kennedy had in mind. Guys, so in the opening chapter of A Nation of Immigrants, right, JFK, he acknowledges the observations of a French political thinker and historian. His name is Alexis de Tocqueville. Guys, and this guy, he was brilliant because, he advocated that America, was not a place that restricted the freedom of choice and action for Americans. That we were a place that did not restrict Americans' freedom of choice and action. And that really made me think, right? That got me thinking, and I'm like, okay, so I wonder, how much freedom of choice and action, these immigrants had during Kennedy's time, right? It had to have been different because today what we're seeing is that there is not much. Okay, under the Trump administration, these immigrants, they don't have much freedom of choice and they don't have much freedom of action. Okay, we can say that. All right. So, there are a lot of restrictions, of immigrants, under the current administration. And I just want to highlight the main restrictions, guys. So the first major restriction are the overturning of asylum protections, guys. So Attorney General Jeff Sessions overturned asylum protections for victims of domestic violence and, gang violence, okay? That is a major, obstacle for immigrants, okay? So the second major restriction, guys, is the separating of the families at the border. Guys, you're going to hear this so much in the media, but there's a policy, guys, that says that adults who are caught illegally crossing the border face criminal prosecution.